We have to be precise in the way we speak, people.
We do.
It matters.
It really does. That's been one of the things I've picked up on the most this year. It just bothers me when people, like, just, we talked about this before. The word liberal is used wrong, and the word, there's another one when Hawk was here. I can't remember what it was, but there's certain ones that just really trigger me really badly.
Well, I think we had that argument about capitalism.
That's
using
what
the
it
word
was.
capitalist.
That's what it was.
Yeah. But that was sort of, that is why I just say that I'm an anarchist. Even though I guess I'm probably an anarcho-capitalist. But, again, saying capitalism is a lot more of a loaded term.
It is. I do think...
It's the same reason I don't like calling myself a libertarian.
I just say anarchist.
Yeah. I do think that the last couple weeks and even months have made a lot of people who did not know the difference between capitalism and corporatism kind of wake up a little bit, especially the last really month.
I don't know. I'm probably more black-pilled on that.
The people that I know have, but maybe that's just because I've been talking about it so much.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I'm probably more black-pilled on that than
I think one of the things that I've kind of realized too is, like, early on, I remember having the conversation, isn't it weird that Lowe's is open or Walmart's open and churches are closed? Like, what a weird unintended consequence. And the mistake I made back then was thinking that it was unintended.
Yeah.
And because it was never, it wasn't weird.
No.
It's weird that I thought it was weird.
Yeah, they don't. Well, you saw Governor Blackface this week in Virginia say the thing about that he was closing everything down again or whatever, and he's talking about church, and he's like, for me, you can worship God anywhere. You don't need to be in a pew or in a church. And it was like, hey, Governor Blackface, we don't really care what worshiping God means to you.
Yeah.
Like, what it means to you could not matter less to me.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And you don't have the right. This is the thing. Maybe we should save this for the intro. I don't know. But, like, this is the thing for me. It's like, what good is the Constitution, which is my argument that it's no good. But what good is the Constitution if it's not good in an emergency?
Yeah.
So if, like, suddenly we can throw out the First Amendment, which is the right to peacefully speak and assemble, that's part of the amendment, is the first thing is that you have the freedom to assemble anytime you want in anybody's home, anywhere actually, peacefully. But we say, well, in an emergency you can't. Well, what good is we don't need you to.
Yeah.
When things are good and it's not an emergency, you don't have to. Nobody's trying to shut me down.
Yeah.
The amendment is for emergencies.
Let's start recording.
We are. But that's the thing. Like, that's what the amendment's for.
Yeah.
And so that's, again, just another proof that the Constitution is absolutely not even worth the paper that it's written on. It's useless. It is completely useless. It's the same thing as the dollar being only worth what people feel like it's worth.
Man outgrows their symbols. Like, even if you look in Scripture, whenever God sets up a political rule, there's always a fall and a rebellion, and then God has to restructure it. In other words,
well, what I'm saying is that the Constitution, from its
it is on broken foundation.
Was the rebellion.
Yeah.
The Constitution was the coup. Like, they literally shipped Thomas Jefferson to France while they wrote it. Jefferson...
What is the thing you always say, the saying, the Constitution was either powerless...
Yeah, it's Lysander Spooner. He said that the Constitution is either powerless to keep us from getting where we are, or it is what got us to where we are, and either way, it is invalid, or it's much more eloquent than that.
Unfit to exist.
But it's either way, it's unfit to exist, and so that's the point: is that it didn't stop us getting this huge state power, or it's actually the reason that we have it, which is what I think is the case. Because again, the Constitution itself was a coup. It was so funny to me. I think I've told y'all this story when I went to Philadelphia a few years ago. And we went to, that's where the Constitution Hall is and all that kind of stuff. And we're going on a tour, and I'm in the room with like 50 normies, and the tour guide is like, so did you all know that the Constitution was not our first governing document? And I'm like, she's a tour guide. I'm not, I'm like, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
She's like, does anybody know what it was? And I'm not a speak in public kind of guy, so I'm just sitting around. And nobody's saying anything. And I'm like, the Articles of Confederation.
Yeah.
And she looked at me like that. She goes,
I'm sure.
That is exactly right. Very good. That is impressive. And I'm like, I looked at my dad who was with me, and I was like, are you kidding me? Is this am I being punked? Because you people don't know this.
Yeah.
Nobody knows this, and my dad didn't know it.
They don't teach that. I mean, they don't teach that.
I couldn't believe that. I thought and maybe I'm not remembering this right, but I feel like I've known that since I was like 14.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe I learned this later in my own weird, reading and stuff. But like, anyway, all of this was to get back to the point is that the Constitution was the coup.